I would read books like Erroneous Zones, which is one from a long time ago. I'm an older guy, but by Wayne Dyer. I read the book Illusions when I was younger by Jonathan Beck. That really shifted me when, the core message there was that, everything really is an illusion. We're creating it as we go through life. And so I started to learn. And then as I learned, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, this thing that happened to me, it's shaping me into somebody that's going to know way more than someone who never had to go through maybe something like that. I think hopefully I would have been a good person had it not happened. And there's been many other adversities in my life too, just like with other human beings, but I wouldn't be the person I am now. I wouldn't be doing what I am doing now. I wouldn't have written the book, The Breakthrough Code. I wouldn't, be on all these different podcasts. I probably would have had a fairly normal, hopefully good, successful life, but not the one that I'm enjoying now. So it took me a while though. And to be honest with you, Veronique, I'm still figuring things out. I don't know if you've got it all figured out, but I'm learning something every day, and I'm 61 years old, right? So I'm not, I feel like I'm going to live a long time, but I'm not like in my 20s or 30s. So I think it's still an evolution for me.
Absolutely. And I'm like you. I learn something new every day. I learn something, either through my reading or research or our clients. There's just so much to learn and to continue to learn. So let's talk about habits.
Yeah.
What role do our daily habits play in our ability to create that shift in our reality? Well, let's and talk about shifting our reality. I guess combine the two.
Yeah. So, and that's what I'm excited about. I believe human beings can shift reality. I think, I have a quote that is in the book, The Breakthrough Code, where I say average conforms to reality. The average person, they get a health diagnosis. They're going to look and say, okay, what's going to happen? And they're going to pretty much conform to that. They're going to live as long as they're supposed to live, the average person. They're going to have the symptoms that they're supposed to have. But I'm like, why? Like, why do you just conform to what everyone else is doing? Because great human beings, ones that are willing to go inside and challenge their old beliefs, and we call it letting go of your old baggage, letting go of old habits. And that's tough work, like going inside and working yourself. But people that are willing to do that and willing to use their imagination to start to form a better reality, and that's where it starts. Everything's created twice, first inside, then it shows up on the outside as physical matter in your body or situations in your life. But greatness, great people create a whole new reality. And that's what I'm excited about. Every morning we wake up, there's certain things that are more likely to happen, and they're based upon our old habits. And our old habits reside down in our subconscious, which I call your superconscious, because it's actually more conscious than your conscious mind. It can process 40 million bits of information per second, your superconscious. The conscious mind can process 40 bits of information per second. Now, we think we're our conscious mind, but we're not. We are the habits that are down in the superconscious or in the superconscious, and those run about 95% of our life. So if you want to heal, you've got to create a new you. The old you created whatever illness you're going through, or whatever relationship issue you're going through, or whatever financial situation you're going through. So those habits, they got you to where you are. And some of them are really good habits they're going to carry forward, but you have to start figuring out, what do I shed along the way so that I can create room to put something even better in its place? And it's challenging work. It really is, because we want to just count on and believe in what we can already see and feel and think about. And what I'm challenging people to do to create a whole new reality is to literally start creating thoughts you haven't thought before. Create a belief system that might not have been yours. You got it from someone else that's successful, but this is how you shift reality. It all starts on the inside. Now, you got to take actions too, but everything starts on the inside of you. So we should be going inside of ourselves every day. And if something doesn't feel right, figure out what it is, experience it, feel it, and then hopefully let it go and free up space and energy to now accept a better belief.
That's so good. You know, and working with women with breast cancer and being a breast cancer conqueror myself, one of the big lessons that I've seen in, you know, this community is that a lot of these women don't feel deserving. They are type A personalities. They are doing everything for everybody else, and they're putting themselves last. So how do women like us change that mindset of you know, the shedding and shifting our habits and our reality? Like, how do we start doing that?
Yeah, I think first identify it. Like, are you somebody who's always putting somebody else first? By the way, that not only creates stress, which in the body, which can manifest in cancer, but it's one of the leading causes of people have chronic pain. Is they're always putting everyone else first. They tend to be perfectionists. And when you're always putting everyone else first, there's part of you that's like, hey, screw this. Like, and so there's like, you know, like I did that. And I had chronic fatigue back in 2015 and, you know, tons of pain and, you know, couldn't even walk. And I figured out what had happened. I had a virus, right, that didn't get better, but the virus was not the real issue. The reason I didn't get better was because I had all these repressed emotions, and I never thought of myself as an angry person or someone who had rage. I was always just a nice person making everybody else happy. But when you do that, there's part of you that's like, do something for yourself, right? No, you don't always have to make sure everyone else is happy. So I had to learn that lesson 7 years ago and step up and start to get rid of that and make it okay for me to put myself first. I mean, why are they putting other people first? Because that's what a good, nice human being does. Well, sometimes, but if it's all the time, then your body's going to go time out, like, and create an illness or whatever it was. For me, it was chronic fatigue. Some people, it might be breast cancer. It's just trying to get your attention to say, we need something to change here because there's too much stress or repressed emotion. And we're going to give you a signal that, you know, hopefully you don't avoid.
Yes, your body is so amazing because it's going to tell you, and it's going to get your attention one way or another. And, you know, I've noticed this in our community too, because a diagnosis is life-changing, and everything that how you've lived your life up to that point has allowed cancer to show up, or chronic fatigue or whatever.
Yeah.
So from that point forward, you have the possibility of changing all of that. So you never have to go back to that way of life. And, you know, the majority of women that we work with say, you know, breast cancer was the best thing that ever happened to me, because now I'm happier, I'm healthier, I have a more balanced life. And, you know, I've got my priorities straight. I take time for self-nurturing. So it can really be empowering if we, you know, choose the path of the victor versus the victim.
Yeah.
So
well, I love that. I love that you do that, because, and I love your language changes. These are all great little changes. Whenever we hear anything about an illness we might be experiencing, the mind and the body have to take it in and figure out what to do with it. So if you're reading information about, you know, how disastrous this cancer is going to be and all the things it's going to do and the likelihood of beating it are only, you know, this percent, you know, your mind's going to take all that in if you allow that in, and it could form a belief, and the belief could be as fatal as any actual physical illness, actually probably more fatal, I believe. And so be careful what you believe. Be super careful what you believe. Again, I love what you're doing. You're giving people beliefs of positivity, and that this is a sign just to change your life, right? And to create a better version of you moving forward. Those